Good. All right. So welcome to Thursday. Seems
Yeah.
seems like the week is moving by quickly, so that's good. Today we're going to dive in similar to yesterday where we went step one and four and we put the two together. I'm going to take two other steps and combine them so that you can see how one plays off of one another. That'll be sort of the big thing that we work on today. But before we dive into it, I want to start today the same way we did yesterday, and I'm going to go around the room and ask if you had a customer appointment or if you did an evaluation yesterday. What was your big takeaway, primarily from one of the customer appointments or from an evaluation? Now, if you didn't have either, then you can talk about something else that you took away from yesterday's class. But I'm really, really interested to hear how your evaluations went yesterday. I know from reading the comments and reading all of them that got sent to me last night and early this morning that there was a lot of improvement from one day to the next. So I'm interested to get your feedback on that as well. So let's see. Zuri, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I felt much comfortable doing the whole step, the setup call until I didn't get the product presentation, but I felt more comfortable, more loose, and started to like not get afraid of and just say it. And if I miss something, I should put it for the next time. Like my next presentation gotta be better, and not try to say like, oh, I missed it, I screwed it up. Just like let go. And like when you're skiing and you're on top of the hill, like, okay, you gotta go downwards and just go with it and see how it
Nice.
goes. So, but I felt much comfortable. I mean, I hope today it's gonna be better.
Good. Good. Let's see. Brad, how about you?
I think the taking the initial warm up or the melting the ice, I guess, and plugging that into the company story and engaging with the consumer, like it's a having to remember all that and kind of like wrap that up in a bow at the end is definitely challenging. It's starting to come together though, I feel like, but it's just like, okay, what other questions can I ask based off what I visually see in the house to try to get as much info for that company story to get them engaged.
Good. Good. Denise.
So we had our appointment yesterday was actually a BBAC, second visit to this house. This is a couple who wants different things in their carpet. She has one she absolutely loves and he doesn't want to pay for it. So he had a dollar amount that he wanted, and I already had after our options discussion, I had already preloaded some extra options and ended up having one that was like almost to the penny what he wanted and still didn't get him. So I know that it's not the money either that's keeping him from moving forward. So that being a little bit of a challenge for us, I'm determined to land this job. I just don't know which carpet it's going to be on yet. But I think kind of the point there that I'm laboring to make is I've also asked Josh sometime next week. I think we're going to basically unload the showroom. First of all, we need to do an inventory because there are some things in there that have been discontinued since he set it up. But also just to help me know exactly what my transition pieces are. So, coming from a different flooring company and then getting to know exactly what our products are and exactly what those price points are, I think is going to be huge for me in being able to utilize those options 2, 3, and 4 potentially going forward.
Nice. Good. Let's see. Antonio, how about for you?
You hear me?
Yep, we've got you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. Just like yesterday, the beginning, the feedback you get from the initial, the initial conversation, get as much as possible. Don't try to rush it, to the next one. Just inundate yourself with information so you can be more prepared for the have tools for the whole presentation. We tend to, just, in my practice, I try to move faster, no, move slower, so you get more information. They have more for the whole presentation.
Nice, nice. Drew, how about information from your evaluation yesterday?
Did mine yesterday with Marty, and it got a little bit better. There were some key points that I hit on that I didn't do the day before, and then there was some key points that I didn't do yesterday that I did the day before that. But it got a little bit smoother.
Okay. Good. All right, let's see. Carrie.
Yeah, we had an appointment with the realtor at a condo. His client actually lives in Pennsylvania, and they want to replace their 70s shag lime green carpet for potential resale. So I measured the entire condo, and I think I got it all right. There was a lot of large windows and doors. I showed him some vinyls. It was a little different with the warm up and the company story being that it wasn't the actual customer. But it flowed nicely, and I'm just going to send him the proposals and all the pictures that he can forward on to the customer. So I'm just trying to get more and more comfortable with the company story. I'm trying to make it more personable, and just going to keep, repetition is key.
Yep. So is this a realtor that Reed and Shauna have worked with before, or is this somebody new?
This is somebody new. He's a very nice
Okay.
guy. So, I've started going to the pro meetings, and I know a lot of realtors in town. So it's definitely a great potential leads, getting to know all these realtors.
And you went through and you did go through the company story with him, right?
I did. And I kind of
Yeah.
started it out like, thank you for the opportunity for us to come into your client's home. And so I just kind of reworded it a bit.
Sure.
But, I'm still
Sure.
kind of stumbling a little bit along the way. And so Reed and I are going to work on, just repetition and making it a little more personable to me and the customer.
Sure. Okay. But that was a golden opportunity. I'm glad you took advantage of it, because
Yeah.
if you were to call a realty office and say, hey, can I have 15 minutes to go through my company story with your realtors? You're not getting in
No.
the door that way. Right?
Yeah.
But this gave you a natural opportunity to share the company story with a realtor. That's
Mhm.
that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, he was a little taken back, and I said, oh, I just want to tell you about our company and what's differentiates us from others, just so you know, and what we can offer you, and for your any future clients, So,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Wendy, Courtney, how about from your evaluation yesterday?
There we go. What did I learn? I learned that coming at it, especially just with the eval, like from a place of fear I'm going to miss my key points, my transitions, what I'm going to say. Once I kind of realized that about halfway through, I think the company story, it just kind of slowed down and got smoother. That being said, I really I need, and Winnie and I have been just kind of going over it and over it, just kind of repetition, just going through it. To me, we call it the canned questions, just when they need to be in there, and just keep going over it on an abridged version, just to make sure I've got them right there. And it's really seemed to help.
Good.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. It seemed order of events, if you can kind of get that internalized, where those questions are coming in the right spot, they really smooth kind of the clunkiness.
Nice. Sorry, just taking some notes. All right, good. Dylan,
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing was, like we mentioned before, getting a lot of direction during the warm up, trying to be more specific and letting it still be organic and natural, but again, trying to get to the point where time and money is spent what they value in life. I would say as far as learning and what I need to work on, I'm actually found out like I'm uncomfortable asking the ending question from step one. Basically, where you're trying to pull the objection. I'm probably overthinking it, but I'm thinking, if I get the objection that early, once I ask the pre-close question, I just feel like in the back of my mind, they were like, Dylan, I told you when you walked through the door, like I'm getting other quotes. And I feel like that point you kind of lose all credibility as, a DA. So I've been nervous. I'm sure it's probably never actually happened as long as you're doing all the other steps right. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Good, good. All right. So I'm taking a note of that. Take 2 minutes and touch on that in just a moment. Good. Christian.
So I did get a chance to connect with Shannon yesterday, and it went fairly well. Like it really did bring up my weak points, which I think the weakest ones right now at this point are still just the confidence in the product and like presenting it and knowing what I'm talking about when it comes to that and just getting really excited about it. So I know my confidence will shoot up once I get there, but I thought that, my pre-close and closing questions and everything were good. She wanted to keep moving on, like as a customer, to the other options. And I just kept trying to present it in different ways to help her out, and it seemed to work out.
Good. Good. All right. Chris.
So I think my setup call and warm up went really well. I was pleased with it. I did make a couple crucial mistakes. I came back in from the van and was trying to close the deal without going over the samples or telling them, this is why I chose it. And so Ellen started laughing. He's like, "How do you want me to commit to buying something if you haven't even presented it to me?" And I just started laughing. And then when I was going through the proposal, I screwed up and I did the proposal on my lowest price option, and I seen the price and I started laughing myself. I was like, "Oops!" But I still need to work on the story and factoring in the nuggets that we obtained. But I think the opening went well for me, so it's getting better.
Good. When I saw that in the notes yesterday, and I had to laugh. I hired a design associate. His name was Rick, and I was working with Rick, and we were in a customer's home, and this customer absolutely loved this. I've got to tell you the 30 seconds of how we found this customer. So when Rick first came to me, one of the first things that I had new design associates do was go back into previous customers that I had done business with and call the customer and say, "Hi, this is Rick with Floor Coverings International. I'm calling to schedule your 6-month warranty checkup, or I'm calling to schedule your 1-year warranty checkup." Right? Well, what is that? "Oh, well, we like to come back 6 months after the job is installed, or 1 year after the job is installed, and just take a look and make sure everything's holding up the way that it's supposed to." And normally the customers will say, "Wow, that's fantastic. No, you don't have to come by." And then you kind of have to be not assertive, but you have to get your way into the door and say, "Well, it's really something that's required by my company. So would it be okay if I just stop by for 5 minutes this afternoon?" Okay, great. So then Rick shows up at the lady's house, or at the customer's house. The customer was so blown away that we were sending somebody. And by the way, the little side shoot, the reason Rick is going to the house is so that he can get a reference list picture. That's why he's going, right? And of course, if there is something that's not right, we're going to take care of it. I mean, it's no big deal. But he shows up at the house and he's talking to the previous customer. She was so impressed that somebody was coming to the house a year after the carpet had been installed, that she actually had her mom come over to see this event happen. Her mom's local. Her mom comes over, and Rick goes in. Everything looks good. Everything's great. He gets a reference list picture, and the mom says, "I'm so taken aback by this. I want you to come give me an estimate on my floor." So now Rick and I run that one together, and he goes and getting to why this came to mind. He's very nervous This is the first time he's run an appointment, and I'm sitting there with him, okay? And he gets through the company story, right? And the last slide of the company story, let's build your floors. And he immediately looks at her and says, so other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? And she looks at him and says, well, it might be nice to see some carpet first. and it blew his mind. He landed the sale, everything was fine, but it was funny. You get nervous and these things happen. And I mean, with Rick, it happened right there live in front of the customer. So Chris, it's better that it happened yesterday.
Hopefully it's over and done with now.
Over and done. Good. Let's see, Leanne.
So basically the same thing, going over things with Steve, just trying to get more, a little bit of technical knowledge, product knowledge to give when I'm talking about the products. And I think it's just going to take actually throwing me out into a real appointment for me to be able to be comfortable, because that's sort of how I learned. The role play freaks me out, and then I feel like I'm being like, oh my God, you're being judged and all that weird tested thing. So then I get stage fright. So I feel like just actually doing an appointment is going to show, you know, what I can do and how I'll remember everything, and just practicing it.
Nice. Nice. Owen, big takeaway for you from yesterday's evaluation.
Yeah, I mean, I think I shared this via email as well, Arlen, but I think the big things for me are, it's really starting to come together for me. I know we've had training on all this in parts and pieces, but you know, you got the holiday break and all that. It just in terms of connecting the dots, even between the inspired sales process and the tools and where to insert what, et cetera, is it's just starting to click a little bit. And then the big thing for me is transitions, either between slides or the company story or between process steps, just smooth that out. So
Good. All right. So yesterday evening, Jason was working with one of our coaches, Joe Benincasa, and for whatever reason, I don't know, Jason, if you had asked him to do it or what, but Joe recorded it and sent me the recording of them working on the company story together. And Jason, I actually did watch all the way through it. Now, in fairness, I put it on 2x speed so that I could get through it in half the time, but the work that you guys did was phenomenal. Why don't you share some of your big takeaways from that?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway, honestly, I don't want to sound cocky or anything. My biggest takeaway is that I'm gaining a lot of confidence in telling the story. I'm being able to make it my own and just repeatedly going over and over again. Building confidence is one of the biggest things, I think, but really working on my transitions and being able to get from one slide to the next is, you know, if you watched it, that's what we were focusing on. And yeah, I asked him to record it because trying to take notes and then do that was kind of clunky. So I was able to go back and hit the points that I needed to hit so that I could get a nice sheet down, because my goal is to have a nice outline of what I want to say. And then once I sort of have that outline and a feel for that outline, you know, I'll be able to customize it, and I'll always have that outline in the back of my head that I'll be able to jump back in where I left off, and just how my mind works. I think that's what I wanted. So being able to review that again and write down where my plan is, I'll be able to venture from the plan and bring it back, I think, a lot easier. So
nice.
That's how that came about. So.
Really, really good session yesterday. That was good. Christine.
Sorry, couldn't get my mute off. So ours was a little hybrid yesterday because we had to go to a goodbye party. So we were actually driving to the party and talked about the warm up to the company story and connecting all of it, but it wasn't like a true from beginning to end because we needed to be at an event. But we did talk about it on the way there, on the way back. And again, like with everybody else is saying, it's guys, it's just practice. That's all it is. we'll get confidence once we practice more. And like Leanne said, get out there and do it.
Yep. Good. John Suarez.
Well, I'm definitely getting a lot more confident with the entire, running an entire appointment. I'd say my biggest takeaway is all the little things that I can do better to improve, and implementing them the next time I try the appointment. So I'm learning a lot as I'm practicing, and yeah, extremely beneficial. I'm excited for the evaluation later on today, and I'm going to definitely try and implement all of those things that I learned yesterday.
Nice. Let's see. All right, Tatiana was there. Maybe she just slipped over to the side. I'll come back to her, and we will go to Jonathan Hernandez.
All right. So are we asking what my takeaways were or some of the evaluation?
Yep.
Okay.
So your takeaways from yesterday, if you guys did a practice mock
Sure.
appointment yesterday or a real appointment, big takeaways from yesterday.
Okay. Our strong suits are the warm up, and of course you have to remember those things like we were already talking about. Forgetting them, it kind of, like you said, loses your credibility if you forget to address certain things throughout the presentation. But the warm ups are good. Step 2, company story. But then part of the eval was working harder on creating the excitement post company story to show the product, the installation, to kind of justify that high-end price that we're going to be presenting. So there's a little more excitement before you flip, and then you go into the sales portion. So getting better at that and being excited about the product, excited about the service we're going to bring, so they have all their questions answered.
Nice. Isaac.
Yeah, so mine was a big improvement from the day before. The mistakes that I made the day before, I did not repeat yesterday. I was much stronger on the setup call, the warm up, the company story, and personalizing some of the slides in the company story towards the customer. And then the things that I did not do so great at was I left the reservation and mixed up a couple of steps there. So as I got into it, I went into the inspection video too soon. Instead of doing that, when I came back from the van, I did that before I went out to the van to grab the product. Also, I didn't press, he gave me a soft objection on price during the warm up, but I didn't press for a hard objection so that I could have some more certainty of where his hang up was going to be. And that also caused me to miss the opportunity to get more info on what product he was actually looking for, because he came in with carpet saying, hey, I'm not really sure. I'm kind of open to anything, right? So that left me a little bit weak when I came around to the product side of things, of presenting the best option first. So good takeaways. Product knowledge is still a huge weakness for me right now, and then realizing that the nervousness got me off track from following the steps. So those are 2 areas that I'm going to be working to strengthen myself in.
Nice. Good stuff. All right, so I think the only people I've missed this morning are Tatiana and Josh, but it looks like they've stepped away at the moment. All right, so let me share, based on some of this, there's a couple of things that I want to share with you guys, and then we'll dive into today's planned content. So hopefully everybody knows how to get to Floor 1-1. If you don't, reach out and I'll be happy to share with you a link or whatever you need to be able to get there. But hopefully everybody knows how to get into Floor 1-1. This is not Floor U, so this isn't where you've been doing your coursework. Floor 1-1 has some resources in here that I want to make sure you know are out here. Now, when you log into Floor 1-1, this is my home page. When I log in, this is what it looks like. Yours is going to look different. And the reason it'll look different is that you can go up to settings and you can pick what widgets you want on your home page. And so if your home page doesn't look like this, don't worry too much about it. I don't know about you, but every time I read this at the top, it makes me look twice. All right, just double checking that. All right, so when I come over here to the left, you'll notice there's a little menu that pops out. And where I'm going is I'm going into the dashboard, and then I'm going down to library. And when I go into the library, give this a moment to load. Again, my folder list is going to be a little bit different because I've got a couple of corporate folders that you guys won't have, but you're looking for the one that says Franchise Owner's Manual. And yes, Design Associates, this is for you as well. fact, I could rename that franchise owner and DA manual, but nevertheless, this is out here for you. Now, this is not intended to be training material. It's a library, and just like any other library, there's a bunch of stuff out here, and you have to kind of know where to find the stuff that you're looking for. So you guys have already been out here before, primarily around the inspired sales stuff. So if I go into inspired sale, and you'll notice one of the things, Courtney, you were talking about like having a cheat sheet and having, or you weren't saying cheat sheet, you were talking about where the canned questions go and that sort of thing, right? Well, right here at the very top of this list is something called the inspired sales summary. I just want to show you guys that this is out here. Use it if you like. I'm going to open it up just so that we can see what this is. And this is truly an inspired sale cheat sheet. 2 pages. You've got your transition questions listed. You've got step 2, step 3. What should I do here? What should I do here? What should I do here? You've got the walk of life questions. Now, granted, you can't take this and learn the inspired sale from this, but if you were to print this out and have it in the van with you, this is a handy little cheat sheet to have available. All right, so that's one thing that I wanted to show you. You'll also notice that, I mean, you guys already know that this is where your company story information is, and you've got this is the PDF version of it, and this is a link to it, so that's great. I'm going to go back to the franchise owner's manual, and this time I'm going to go to merchandising. There is so much material here under the merchandising resources. It's unbelievable how much is out here. So you've got the PowerPoint that I've sent you before with the product fab for the most common products. All right, so we can download that and have that handy for us for later. That's okay. But what I want to point out is when you're looking at this, there's a couple of these subdirectories that I want to go to. One is my product selector, drop list, and inventory forms. So Denise, you were talking about pulling everything out of the van and just making sure that everything was current in the van, right? Well, this is where I would suggest that you go. If I go here, merchandising, product selector, drop list, inventory forms, then there's a file here. Well, not that one. That's not the one I want. Sean has moved it, so let's get the right place. Mobile showroom. So under merchandising and under mobile showroom, I believe that's where he's got it hidden. Yep, right here. Mobile showroom inventory, studio, and vendor drop list. So this is Sean's file from December 2022. Where did I find that again? I found that under franchise owner's manual, merchandising, and then under mobile showroom. So I click on this, and I just want to show you what's in this file. And this is going to open on. Open. Is either time for a new computer or add some more memory to this one of the two.
That's the same one you took to VSA?
There we go. Bring this over this way. All right. So this is the vendor crossover list, mobile showroom, all this stuff, right? So the first thing that I'll show you, this first tab is called the mobile showroom crossover names. Well, this gives you, on the left-hand side, this gives you our name for something, and it gives you the vendor name over here. But this one tab of the mobile showroom crossover names, these are the products that I would expect to have in my mobile showroom. Now, I say that, and now let me give it a disclaimer. I also know that locally, individual franchise owners find, somebody will have a deal with this company, somebody will have a deal with that company, and they'll have other things in the mobile showroom, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So if you might, right now, there's no Mohawk carpet in the mobile showroom. We do have an arrangement with Mohawk, but all of their stuff is in the studio collection. But you have a Mohawk carpet that you really love to sell, throw it in the mobile showroom. There's no problem with that. It's just from a default standpoint, this is what's in there. So if Denise were going through her mobile showroom, I would at least want to make sure that what she's got in the mobile showroom is what's listed here, and then, you can add from there, make changes from there. So you'll see the first section is carpet, and then we get down into solid hardwoods, engineered hardwoods, laminates, luxury vinyls.
Arlen, so exactly what is that?
Sorry?
What is the location on the franchise owner manual? In the mobile showroom?
So if I go to franchise owner manual, then I go to merchandising resources, and then I go to mobile showroom.
Got it.
And the name of the file is the mobile showroom inventory studio and vendor drop list. And you'll see, so this was last updated in December. Sean will update it probably in another month or so. It doesn't get up, it gets updated when it needs to, and that's probably every couple of months or so. Some of these have additional details. So like this admiring, if I click on this link, it'll take me to additional details for it. That's great. The next tab over is my studio samples. So these are samples that you also have, but these are samples that are probably in your warehouse. These, you can't fit everything in the van. So these are additional samples that you might have that might be in the studio collection. You'll also notice there's a drop list. So let's talk about the drop list for just a second. I don't really want to print. Let's get rid of the filters. All right, so when I look at this, this is a long list because if you look at the dates go way back. So there's stuff that's on this list back to 2015. Well, surely it's not in anybody's van. So let's go to more recent stuff down at the bottom of the list. And I see that, for example, Shaw Cortec, here's their part number for it, Cortec stone polished, what we call Basilica, and it's just that one color that has been discontinued. Now you'll notice there are several colors that have been discontinued, but you'll see if it's just one color, then that one color is discontinued, but the rest of the board might be okay. There's going to be others where it'll say all colors. Like here's one, Artistry. That's a Cortec board. And all colors of that one have been discontinued. And the recommendation is that you take and throw that board in the trash. Just get rid of it because there's nothing there that's going to help you. Chaser Mix Plank. I hate to see that one go. That's a really nice looking board. But the Chaser Mix, all colors are gone. So that board goes in the dumpster. So I point this out just so that you know where this file is. You will want to check for this file every so often. Sean does a nice job in his monthly newsletter of showing you what's been discontinued that month. But if you ever miss that newsletter, or you just I want a list that I can print out, you can pull this down and print it out. Good. Any questions about this list? Pretty straightforward. So I'll close that. That's the crossover list that I wanted to show you. And I wanted to show the cheat sheet. The other thing that I'll show you while we're out here is now I am going to go back to merchandising resources. And this time I'm going to go to the vendor partner support folder. So when I look at vendor partner support, every vendor that we do business with is listed here. And some have more documents in them than others, but there's a ton of information out here. It's more information than you could ever possibly absorb. I'm going to click on Shaw because it's one of the bigger ones, but it's document after document after document that's listed in there, and you can look through here and see what makes sense for you to download and have with you and what doesn't make sense to download and have with you. One file that I am going to highlight for you, well, a couple of them, When it comes to installs, and a lot of the design associates on here aren't going to have to worry about install, and that's great. But there's decision trees, like for hardwood, for luxury vinyl. Let me pull down one of the decision trees, and we'll talk about that. The other thing that I want to show you is their sundries list. There it is.
Wow.
Shaw Sundries and Accessories Guide. I want to pull that one down as well. So I want to show you the decision tree for hardwood and the Shaw Sundries list. So when I open up this decision tree, and again, this has more to do with install and a lot less to do with measuring and estimating and all that stuff. But I'll get these questions in the group meet pretty frequently. So if I'm on concrete, what kind of primer do I need before I glue something down? Well, you could use the 9050 primer, you could use a Durock primer sealer. Okay, well, there we go. If I'm on gypsum, like in an apartment complex, well, there's a good primer for you, or plywood. Good. What about floor prep? Well, these are different options when it comes to floor prep. What about underlayment? Well, if I'm going to glue down, if I'm doing a cork underlayment for a double glue, if I'm floating, there's 3 different ones that are here. You've got a 2-in-1, you've got a Celotac, and you've got a Silent Step Ultra. Okay, so that's a good, better, best when it comes to underlayment if you're floating a hardwood. And if you're stapling it or nailing it, they say NA because Shaw doesn't sell roofing felt, but you would have roofing felt under there. If you were gluing it down instead, here's some glues that are available for you.
Arlene.
And then you've got trim pieces. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You know, even though there's some annoying clients like me, I want to know exactly what's going on underneath the floor. And maybe we're not doing the installation, but hey, look, we have a knowledge of, what's going on, more or less.
Yep.
Isn't, the answer of
Yep.
that one.
100%. So this gives you, and then you've got a lot of words about each one, so that's good. Okay. All right, so I just want to show you that document's out there, that's available. The other document is another Shaw document that I'll show you. This is the Shaw Sundries. I'm not trying to sell Shaw. That's not the point. The point is to show you where you've got resources. So this is their accessories and product guide. And what do I mean? So it shows you each one of their, whether it's floor prep materials, every one of the carpet pads that they offer. And this is where you can find all of the technical details. What is the density? What is the thickness? What is the roll size? How many square yards per roll does this come in? The whole 9 yards. You get everything that you need to know about this stuff. Then you've got the Fiber Touch cushions. Then you've got an underlayment guide. Well, this is a really, really helpful 1-page guide when it comes to, what are different underlayments and what do they mean and what do they do? If you're working in multifamily dwellings like condos or apartment complexes where you have to pay attention to sound abatement, the ones that are specific for sound abatement, like Celotac, it gives you the sound abatement numbers here. The other one, like Silent Step Ultra, it'll give you the sound abatement numbers right here. So that's good. Adhesives, and you've got all the adhesive guide, all of their stuff for adhesives. Tack strips, I probably wouldn't buy tack strips from Shaw. I'd get those local, but they're there. Setting materials, again, you've got thin sets and grout. So again, we don't have to go through every little detail here. My point is that there are a ton of resources out here. If you can't find it there, then obviously you've got Google. But I would highly encourage you to sort of kick around in this library and see all the data that's out there, all the information that's out there for you. And probably one of the biggest areas that you're going to spend time in is going to be this merchandising folder. And you're either going to hit the mobile showroom to see what belongs in the mobile showroom, or you might hit the product selector and the drop list guide, or you might hit the vendor partner support. And then if you really, really want to geek out when it comes to installation, there's a whole folder of installation guides. Where does stuff go? You want to get really, really technical. Here's a standard for installing residential carpet. Here's a standard for installing wood. Here's a standard, the national standards, not a FCI standard, but a national standard. So again, I don't want to bore everybody to death with this. You've got at your fingertips, you literally have hundreds of thousands of pages worth of documentation that's out there if in fact you ever wanted to start mining it. If you really wanted to start diving into it, there is a ton of information out there to take a look at.
Hey, Arlen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used some of those things as I was unpacking the my sample shipment. It was very helpful. I had a question about the accessory products, if you will, like, you know, the adhesives and the nail tacks, etc. Is there a like a recommendation or a starter pack for new franchise owners that says, you know, here's a good list and quantity of those types of products to have in your warehouse from day one?
Yeah, the list is 0. Don't have any of them in your warehouse.
So you just order everything on demand?
Order everything on demand.
Okay.
Until you've done enough jobs in your area that you realize, okay, this is a common product for my area. It
Okay.
doesn't make sense to hold inventory. It doesn't make sense to go buy a bunch of adhesive and then a year from now you're looking at, you know, expiration dates and figuring out what to do with it because you bought stuff that you never used. And it's
Gotcha.
not just an area thing. What's really, you're probably not going to believe me on this, but maybe one day you will. It's not even that this is what people in Northern Virginia like. It's more, this is what Owen feels comfortable selling.
Okay.
Because what you'll find is that, you know, you're right next door to Risa, and Risa's burning through all this adhesive, and so you decide, well, it makes sense for me to buy the stuff that she's selling, and then you don't sell any of it because you're just not comfortable selling that product, or you don't, you know, you haven't fully accepted that yet, or whatever the issue is, right? Or vice versa. So I would strongly suggest don't put anything in stock until you've done enough jobs, and that might only be 5 or 6 jobs. You might wait till you've done 15 or 20 jobs, and then you'll start to see, okay, it makes sense for me to start getting this and having a little bit of this in the warehouse.
Okay. Great.
The only thing
Thank
I
you.
would put in the warehouse, the only thing I would ever put in the warehouse, you might put trim, like shoe molding, quarter round baseboards, maybe that stuff goes in the warehouse. There might be some adhesives, maybe not. There might be a carpet pad that you buy in bulk and you have in the warehouse because you sell a lot of that carpet pad. But when it comes to product, like I'm going to put this carpet in stock, that is a huge risk because now you're
Right.
guessing on product, color, everything. I mean, that's a huge inventory risk.
Yeah, I that makes sense to me. Is there some real savings to be had in some of the accessory products once you do know kind of what you're using, buying them in bulk versus by job?
Yes, there will be savings in, there will certainly be savings like in quarter round, there'll be savings in, especially if you end up doing a lot of the same carpet pad, you might be able to save some money there. But again, I wouldn't bother with any of that until
Okay.
until you're maybe 5 or 6 months in and you have a better feel for, yeah, this is what actually sells here.
Yeah, Owen, we don't keep anything in stock, nothing. We buy it all on demand. And Risa does have her go-tos of the products that she's comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I'll have my own, you'll have your own, but like our installer supplies the quarter round. We don't
Okay.
even buy it. So,
Okay.
yeah, so don't keep anything.
Thank you.
Good, thanks. All right, let me switch over to the whiteboard for a second, for longer than a second. Okay, before I get there, let's go here. Dylan, you were talking about asking the transition questions at the warm-up and then asking them again, well, I will go here. Asking the transition questions here So I get to my warm up and I ask my transition questions. And then at the pre-close, I'm asking my other than question, which means I'm really trying to get an objection again, or I'm trying to see if there's still an objection, right? And you asked the question, or you made the statement that it felt a little funny. Can you say that again? It felt a little funny when you're at the beginning and you ask them, and then you ask again towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, again, I do tend to overthink things, but I'm always thinking long, the full game here as soon as I walk into the house. And I'm always having in the back of my mind, if I ask this question early on, what if I get the same answer at step 7? I think I'll lose the sale at that point. So I've, just been nervous asking that question and preferred to just get the answer at the end. But then, of course, I don't know what the objection is early on. And also, I'm not, loosening that tension early on about like what the transition question does for you, getting the tension away from the customer. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just always something in the back of my mind.
Okay, so yesterday, I'm going to answer that a couple of ways. Yesterday, we spent a considerable amount of time tying the warm-up to the company story, specifically around personalization, right? So we did this yesterday. Now, what if I told you that we can also do this? I can take my transition questions from the warm-up, and I can also deal with them in the company story. Not the transition questions. I should do it this way, not the transition questions, but I take that, the objection, and I deal with the objection in the company story as well.
Right. Yeah, and I know the tablet even tells you exactly what steps to follow to get there.
Right. So what I want to find out is when I get to step 7, I want to find out, did I actually deal with the objection? So I asked up here in the warm-up, what made you decide to do it today? And the customer says, oh, I'm not doing it today. I'm getting other estimates. Okay, great. So now when I deliver the company story, I want to hit other estimates head on. And I want to help the customer see that they don't need any other estimates, that it's just about us. So yesterday we talked about taking, in the warm-up, this is what I learned about the customer as a person and put that into the company story. But now I can also take the objection and put that in the company story. And I can work that objection through my product presentation. And I can work that objection through everything that I'm doing to help the customer see that, you know what, you can get other estimates, but you don't really need other estimates. We're the only estimate you need. Now, when I get here to step 7, I'm not asking the question the same way, so it doesn't come across as if I didn't hear them the first time, but I ask it the second time, if you will. Other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? I want confirmation, did I actually do this or not? So if I get here, and the guy still tells me other estimates, then that tells me that I need to go back and do more objection handling training. I need to learn more. I need to understand better how to deal with that objection, whatever that was. If I get here and I ask the question, other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started today? And the customer says, no, it just comes down to price. Then that tells me that the objection he had here, we dealt with it here. So now I've got a green light to move forward.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like I said, probably overthinking, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking they're just going to say, Dylan already told you, but I understand the importance of it.
They might. And if they tell you, Dylan already told you, I'm going to get other estimates, what does that tell you?
I need to work on whatever the objection was.
I need this. I need to understand better how to deal with objections. I need to understand what technique is out there for me to deal with that during the presentation? What technique is out there for me to go through all that, right? So it's the reason, and Dylan, thank you for bringing that up, because actually that's one of the things that I wanted us to do today anyway. So that tees us up really well for it, okay? So before we dive in head first, why don't we just take a quick, if you guys want to take like a quick 15-minute break, just a bathroom break, and then we're going to dive into this objection handling. What do you do? Now that I've asked the transition question and I've got my objection, what do I do with it? And we're going to spend some time on that today, okay? I mean, that's not the only thing we're going to do today, but if you guys want to do like a 15-minute, I've got 11:50, well, it might as well be 11:55, so let's say at 12:10, at 10 minutes after the hour, we will come back together. Same as before, cameras down, and bring them back when you're ready.
To the phone number, but I wasn't sure what the phone number should be. Is it something that we will get later on?
So your phone, what do you mean?
I think we get it next
your
week.
office-
Yeah, the office phone after hours. They said we usually set up call forwarding for FCI after hours, and they asked me where it needs to go to, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that'll be the number, that'll be the AnswerNet number. And by the way, just know that as of now, you probably already have 25 different phone numbers. I mean, you don't realize it, but you probably have 25 different phone numbers out there because they're all different tracking numbers. So you might have one phone number on your website, you might have a different phone number on your Facebook page, you might have a different phone number somewhere else, and it's a way of tracking where did this lead come from.
Arlen, can you go over at some point? I'm trying to get this proposal out from last night, and I forget when you're in Salesforce on your PC, how to access the proposals that I did on the tablet.
Did you sync your tablet?
I believe so. Let me double check.
Is the tablet, when you look at the appointment on the tablet, does it say that what status?
Oh, I got a sync. Yeah, you're right.
There we go. Hey, that's the easiest question all day, right there. Good. All right, so let's move on. Yes.
I had problems yesterday during our competency thing yesterday evening. The product selector in InspireNet wasn't loading half the products. Like I had nothing at all for carpet. I had a ton for hardwood, had virtually nothing for laminate and luxury vinyl as well. So I was curious if there's something that I need to do besides a sync and a reset, which I've already tried.
Have you sent your Shaw account number to Ryan yet?
Yes, I have.
All right, so if you go into, I'm gonna write that down and I'm gonna put it on our parking lot. When did you send him that account number?
Friday.
It's possible that it normally takes about 3 business days for that EDI to be connected. So it could be that it's just not there yet. But we'll take a second look and I'll show you how you can verify that.
Sure, thanks.
I had the same issue. My Shaw account number, I sent it about a week ago and it's not set up yet. Jalen emailed me yesterday saying he was going to look into why.
Okay. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, let's go into objection handling. So if you're there, open your cameras back up and let's get started. So I'm going to use, just for the purpose of us going through one, I'm going to use the objection that I'm getting other estimates. All right, so that's what I'm going to use as my objection, but this works for any objection. I mean, if the customer says, you know, I don't know what I'm looking for, or I've got a fence project, or I've got trees at my son's house, or whatever objection it is that the customer throws at you, it doesn't really matter. But 90% of the time, the objection that you're going to get is other estimates, other quotes, other companies, whatever. So why don't we just use that one as we practice today? Now I want to show you this technique, And just like a lot of the other tactics that I've shown you, you've got to decide if this is something that you want to try or use or whatever. It is a very, very effective objection handling technique, and I'll explain why it's very effective, but it is obviously yet one more thing that sort of has to be practiced to get good at. So let me just show this to you. The first thing that I want to do is I want to acknowledge the customer's objection. So I asked the customer in the warm-up or at the end of the warm-up, what made you decide to do it today? And the customer said, I'm not doing anything today, I'm getting other estimates. Okay, so I take the other estimates along with all of the information that I found out about this person. Okay, so who is this person? You know, this person is they're a realtor, but this is in their own house, so they are the customer. You know, for fun, they are a competitive shooter, and they go to these they go to these different events where it's a timed event, and they have to go from obstacle to obstacle and shoot. They're also in incredible fitness. They're part of a running group in town, and you can often see this guy on Saturday morning running around with a backpack on his back, and he's just an incredibly fit guy, and his real big passion is he's a competitive shooter. Okay, so now we know a little something about the customer. How long have you been thinking about replacing your floor? Oh, I don't know, about 6 months. What made you decide to do it today? I'm not doing anything today. I'm just your estimate number 2. I've had one guy out, I've got another one coming. All right, great. So now what have I packed away in my little nugget, in my little bag of nuggets here? Well, I know he's a competitive shooter. I know that fitness is a big thing for him. I know he enjoys running. I've got all this stuff about him as a person, but the other thing that I have is that he wants to get other estimates. Now, yesterday we spent time talking about how do I take all that personal stuff and roll it into the company story. What am I going to do with the fact that he wants other estimates? So I'm going to do this in the company story again. So when I get into the company story, and again, you can do this on any slide, but we'll pick a slide and we'll practice on a slide, and we'll pick another slide and practice on another slide. So what I want to do is I simply want to start by acknowledging the objection. That's the first thing I want to do is I just want to acknowledge the objection. So I don't know where that went, but that's okay. So I want to acknowledge the objection. I want to let the customer know that I heard them. I understand that you're getting other estimates. Okay, I heard you. Then I want to pitch the slide, whatever that slide is. It'll make sense when we do it. Now, you can, by the way, you can reverse those two. You can pitch the slide first and then acknowledge the objection. And then I want to either present the slide or I can do those in the reverse order. And the biggest thing is I simply want to convert it to a price objection. So why do I want to convert this from I'm getting other estimates? Why do I want to convert it to a price objection? Don't I want to stay away from price objections?
No, because the getting other estimates is a poo-poo objection. So we need to change it to another objection that we can handle. Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I can't do anything about other estimates. What am I going to do? Tell the guy, no, you can't get other estimates. I can't do anything about that. But price I can do something with. So I'm looking ahead to step 7. Other than price or payment, would there be any reason we couldn't get your job started? Well, price and payment are the two things that I can do something about. So what I'm trying to do is between step 1 and step 7, I've got to deal with this other estimate thing, and I've got to help the customer understand that they don't need another estimate, okay? And so normally what this convert to price objection looks like is a simple statement, and this is not word for word, so you've got to make this your own, but, many times, I'll just write it out like this. Many times, when my customers realize ... whatever it was, what is this ... This is what we talked about on this slide, okay? Many times when my customers realize this, they choose to skip Okay, so it might sound something like this. Many times when my customers realize the level of customer service that they're going to get, they'll skip getting those other estimates and they'll just choose to go with Floor Coverings International. Boom, and then I'm moving on to the next slide. I'm not telling them that they can't get other estimates. I'm not telling them that not to get another estimate. I'm not telling them that they're going to choose me instead of getting other estimates. I'm telling them that a lot of other customers that I've talked to, when they realize this point, this bullet point about us, they've chosen to skip getting other estimates. If you don't like the word skip, maybe you like the word forego. That sounds a little more professional, whatever. Getting other estimates. Now, if the objection had been, I'm getting other quotes, then I want to use the word quotes. I want to use whatever word the customer used. So if they did, I want to get other bids, I'm going to use bids. Other quotes, quotes. Other estimates, estimates. Other proposals, proposals. I want to use the same word that they used. Okay, because again, it's me repeating back to them their word, not to use it against them, but because I want them to know that I heard them. This is me having to really train my ear and listen, right? That's why I tell a lot of people tell me, oh, I'm going to be a great salesperson because I can talk to anybody. Yeah, but can you listen to anybody? That's the key. Can you listen to anybody? Can you really, really hear what they're saying? Okay, so the customer says, you know, I'm going to get other estimates. All right, I get into the company story, pitch a slide. You know, I understand earlier you were talking about getting other estimates, and I'll let you know that a lot of times when my customers see the level of care that they're going to get with their floor, or maybe it's when other customers see the level of care that we take in selecting installers, or it might be, you know, when other customers find out that we are really, truly a locally owned business, a lot of times they choose to go with Floor Coverings International and they skip getting those other estimates. Now, here's the key. I left this for the very last. Okay. This is good, but it's incomplete until I add the big nugget at the end. As long that's the key to the whole thing right there. Okay. The last thing that I want the customer to hear as I'm doing this is as long as we can get the price right. Now, again, I want to use the customer's words. So if they had said budget, I'm going to say the word budget. If they had said money, I'm going to use the word money. Whatever it is, you get the picture. This isn't about putting a word for word thing. This is about giving you a structure to work with. So let me show you how this might look on a slide. So I don't know, let's pick we'll pick the first serve slide. It doesn't matter, you can do this with any of them. Okay, so the same customer has talked to me about getting other estimates. Back in step one, back at the warm-up, as we asked the transition questions, the customer told me that they were getting other estimates. Great. So as I'm going through my company story, you know, we're a family of brands that are absolutely concerned with customer service. We're part of a bigger company called First Service Brand, and as you can see, the name Service is right there. I mean, that's our middle name, so to speak. We are absolutely convinced that customer service is the way to do flooring. We have to be. It is the lifeblood of our organization. It's the lifeblood of our parent organization. And, you know, a lot of times when customers realize that we are truly about service and about customer service, and we are absolutely committed to customer service, many times they'll skip getting those other estimates, and they'll choose Floor Coverings International as long as we can get the price right. Boom, now I go to the next slide. Okay. So what am I doing? I'm acknowledging with the customer, you know, I acknowledge their concern. They want to get other estimates. I acknowledge it, okay? But then I pitch the slide, and I convert it. And when I convert it, I have to end on a price statement. And by that, I mean, I'm going to finish by saying something along the lines of, as long as we can get the price right. So who wants to try this? I know this is new. And just like with personalization, I'm going to pick 2 or 3 slides during the company story, and I'm going to do this on 2 or 3 slides in the company story. If I do it on 6 or 7 slides, then it gets really, really redundant, and the customer's like, my gosh, you've told me this already. But I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'll do it 2 or 3 times during the company story, just as a way of kind of reminding them you don't really need other objections. So let's see, Christian, yeah, go for it. Pick a slide. Tell me a slide, I'll put it on that slide for you.
Can we do the BBB slide?
Good. And so all we're doing, same customer, right? Same objection. We're still talking about getting other estimates.
Okay, awesome. All right. So, so the Better Business Bureau looked into it and saw that there were, like, we looked, and there's almost 11 million complaints registered to the BBB. Now they looked into this and wondered where these are coming from, and found that 80% of consumers who took the lowest bid, or 80% of those complaints came from the lowest bidding job. So, and those jobs resulted in work not being done, contractors not showing up, etc. Just nightmare stories. Now, I know you said that you were going to go get some other estimates here, Arlen, but I just want to let you know that most of the time, most of my customers usually end up going with us and skip getting other estimates once they realize that we are registered with the Better Business Bureau, and, you know, put that together with our 4.8 out of 5 stars, and that we don't do shoddy work. We show up and we're there for you no matter what.
All right. So where's my dollar sign at the end? So this is where I want you to, so Christian, that was really good, but I want to finish it. I want you to tie it up. You were 98% of the way there. That last 2% is as long as we can get the price right.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. I just want to tie it up with a bow at the end, because what I want them to do is I want them to stop thinking about other estimates. I mean, what is my objective here? I want them to realize I don't need another estimate as long as these guys can get the price right.
Right. Okay.
Right. So that's why it's so important to finish with, as long as we can get the price right, or as long as we can get the budget right, or as long as we can get the money right, end with a dollar sign somehow.
Okay. So something like, you know, most of the time they skip it, and they end up skipping getting other estimates, and end up going with us because of what I said, as long as we can get the price right.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
And see, you're the only person on the call that can get away with saying, as long as we can get the loonies right. You can do that. I can't do it here. Nobody else on this
Right.
call can do it. You can do it.
Okay.
Good. All right. Somebody else. Don't be shy. Oh, it's tough when we start adding additional skills, isn't it? All right, Denise.
I want to try it on the stars slide.
Oh, the star slide. This is becoming one of my favorite slides.
It's becoming one of mine too, but it's the one that I feel like I'm the least good at hitting things, so I want to practice with this one.
All right.
So I'm just starting it like I'm going through the company story and going back to what they tell me. All right. So we've talked about the fact that as a company, as a franchise, we have the 4.8 out of 5 stars. Here locally in Chattanooga, we're actually 5 out of 5 stars. And this is why we, of course, obviously I've brought you that mobile showroom and we've picked everything here. Here, this is important though. We're a local team that you can trust. We're all of us are owners and operators. We're all right here in Chattanooga. Communication and support, you won't match that anywhere else. I'll be here the entire time the project is going on, from today all the way through the end, including the day that the project starts. I'll be here with the installation team to make sure they know what we're doing. The experience is just seamless. It's just going to be easy for you from start to finish. Many times when my customers realize the level of customer service that they get with us, they choose to skip getting other estimates and just go with Floor Coverings International, as long as we can get the price right.
That's money right there. That's money. Denise has it coming. I love it. I love it. Good stuff, right? So that's not hard. I mean, it does take practice, right? And
Yeah.
essentially all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pitch the slide, and then I'm just acknowledging, look, customers want to know that they've been heard. So I'm just going to pitch the slide. I'm going to let them know I heard you. You know, earlier you said you were looking at getting other estimates. By the way, why do people get other estimates? I mean, ultimately, what's the driver for getting other estimates?
Lack of trust.
It's what they've always heard to do. That's what you're supposed to do.
And again,
Yep.
You get all the quotes, and it's an open can of worms because they're all different. They're all different products. They're all different. Why they want to see something else? Again, it's lack of trust.
Yeah, it's the lack of trust. People want to know that they're not going to get taken advantage of, right? People want to know that I mean, look, I'm like a typical customer. I don't want to overspend, but I'm okay with spending a little bit more if I know that I'm going to get exactly what I want, and I know that I'm not going to be bothered with it, right? I've got projects that need to get done. I don't have time to deal with a contractor. I'm sitting here staring at a camera all day. How am I going to be outside dealing with a contractor or downstairs dealing with somebody putting in carpet? I want somebody that can come in, that can do the carpet and leave me alone and let me do my job while they do theirs. I just want you to make it easy for me. And in order to do that, I feel like I'm going to have to get 3 estimates, because I want to make sure that who I'm going with is going to give me what I'm looking for. I'm willing to pay more if I know that I'm going to get more.
Arlen,
Good. And we're going to show people that. Yeah.
we had a customer, we went to their home, and as soon as we started to do the company story and go through the whole thing, he said, no matter how much I like you and how much I trust you, I always get 3 estimates. So I am not signing anything today.
That's okay.
So that was just what he did. And there was no way he was doing anything, even if he loved you.
Okay.
So
You know
they're
what?
out there.
That's fine. There's
Yeah.
going to be some of those.
Mhm.
But on average, do you remember, we've talked about this number, do you remember on average, how many estimates do people get before buying? On average.
3, 4, I don't know. I can't remember.
1.8.
1.8. So think about this. 1.8 quote estimates per job, if you want to think about it like that, right? So on average, people get 1.8 quotes before they make a decision. Okay, well, that means that for every time Leanne goes to see a customer that needs 3, there's somebody out there that just bought off of 1. So it might be, Leanne, you got to somebody that they spent 30 years in government employment as a purchasing agent. And I mean, they won't buy a pack of M&Ms at a convenience store before walking across the street to 2 other convenience stores to see what the pack of M&Ms are at 3 different places. Okay, I'm not bothered by that. This isn't going to work for them. Okay, but it's going to work for the other people that I talk to. All right, so this is all about practice. So I'm going to break you guys up into breakout rooms. You'll be with different people today than you were yesterday. I'm going to break you guys up into breakout rooms, and what I'm going to ask you to do is I want each person to take 3 slides. do this technique on one slide and then get feedback from everybody. Now, if you're giving feedback, how did that feel as a customer? Was it too wordy? Did it cover the points well, right? And to me, the big thing is, did you finish on a price statement? Did you finish with converting this to price? Am I now thinking about price instead of getting other estimates? And we're just going to stick with other estimates. This works for any objection, but for now, let's just stick with other estimates. And let's see, Carrie says, I wish I would have recorded it. Well, good news, Carrie, this is being recorded, so you can actually go back to it. So, good, so let me get into the breakout rooms. Okay. I need to move my tablet to a room by itself, a whiteboard to a room by itself. All right, so let's see. Robbie is on the Samsung. Okay. Nobody's got a separate audio or anything going on. All right, so you should have 3. There's one room with 4. That's okay too. You should have 3, at most 4 people in a room. And just like before, I want you to take 3 slides, do them one at a time, and get feedback from each slide. And I'll leave it up to you. If you want to take turns and go around, or if you want one person to do all 3 of theirs and then go to the next person to do all 3 of theirs. I will give you guys until, I'll give you 25 minutes to be able to give everybody enough time to do the 3 slides and to really get good feedback. So I don't want to rush this. I want you guys to really be able to get some decent feedback from this and try it again. That should give everybody enough time to do that. See. Zoom does weird things with the breakout rooms. Okay, so this should give everybody plenty of time to work through this. And obviously, if you need something, reach out to me and I'll jump right in.
The feel of it, so I tried to ask about that. And you said you'd plan to use a mat. But the durability, you said you don't use the room very frequently. So we don't need probably the most durable option. But you know, I guess, yeah, visual wise, I know that we need some sort of a wood look, but yeah, I think I need to do better on getting color.
Yeah, so, I mean, I told you it looks like, I told you I wanted it to look professional. What does that mean? What does that mean, to look professional?
Right, I guess it just means that the installation is good and we're not leaving gaps around the outside and stuff. It doesn't, you know, there's no color associated with that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, professional might look like it's a very smooth, clear glass floor. In another case, professional might look like it's a dark wood, you know. In another case, professional might look like it's a really wide plank. For somebody else, it's a narrow plank. So be careful with words like that. You know, you'll have customers that say they want it to look modern. Okay, well, what does modern look like to you? Because if I can ask 5 different people what modern looks like, and all 5 of them are going to give me a different answer. So be careful when you've got adjectives like that. You've got to be able to translate that into, okay, now I know what I'm pulling out of the van. Okay, so thank you for that, Jason. I sort of set you up for failure on purpose. And thank you for playing along with it, because I will tell you that if you only ask these 5 questions, you do not have enough information to go get stuff out of the van. You just don't. And it's impossible to put together a list of questions that's going to get you there, because it's going to depend on what answers the customer is giving you, right? So this isn't, to be honest, this isn't as clean as, like, to me, the walk of life is very clean. There's a path, and I know what path to take. This is very much going to depend on the conversation that we're having with the customer. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how I'm going to dig into more of this information. Now, before I do this, I also don't want to turn this into 20 questions, and I'll show you why. I don't want to ask the customer so many questions that now it's like, my gosh, quit asking questions, just go do your thing, right? I don't want to just annoy the customer, pepper them to death with questions, but I also need to get enough questions asked that I know what I'm looking for. So let's take hardwood. What are some questions that you guys can ask, or what are some things that you guys want to know about what the board is going to look like? We'll get to feel and durability later. But let's focus on what a hardwood floor can look like. And what are some of the things you're trying to figure out? For example, a hardwood floor could have wide planks or narrow planks.
Or both.
What else am I looking for?
Knots or no knots.
Good.
Scraped or smooth.
And what color are they looking for? Do they want earth tones? Do they want grays?
The first thing that came to my mind when you said office was the desk or bookshelves and coordinating with that.
Okay.
I would say high variation or low variation.
If we already specify we're going engineered or solid, because the thickness and step downs and transitions make a big deal when you're.
Okay. Let me put that one over here. Okay, because Dylan, who makes the decision between engineered versus solid?
I typically will make my recommendations and explain the features and benefits of both, and then allow the customer to decide which way they kind of want to go.
All right, that might work sometimes, but Dylan, you're in Texas, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, so how many houses are on a concrete slab?
99%.
Okay, so how many solid hardwood floors are you going to be installing?
I've ran more solid than I have engineered in my first 10.
To do on the concrete?
But yeah, I mean, they're completely satisfied with doing the plywood or the across the entire house, and then doing the hardwood on that, because they want the durability and the longevity. Then then it becomes, 1.5 to 2 inches thick, so you have a big step down.
All right, so this is a little side shoot, we'll come back to this. I would tell you that the durability and longevity of engineered hardwood is probably better than that of solid. And you could actually do your customers a huge favor by gluing down engineered directly to the concrete rather than going through the whole plywood and all that stuff, because they're actually gonna get a better product with engineered. But that's a discussion for another time. We can come back to that. Okay, what else are we looking for in terms of how the hardwood looks?
There's the length of the planks too.
Okay,
Sometimes that matters.
Design or no design also,
tell me what you mean by that.
like a specialty laying, maybe they want it all to be dark wood with a light wood, square border around, picture frame around the outside, maybe they want a herringbone. There's all sorts of
Good.
patterns and designs.
Good, all right. Let's see, what else can we think about for the look? All right, what about the feel? How do you want your hardwood to feel?
Just to touch again on the look, I would say the grain, the movement of the grain, also the species of the particular hardwood.
I could also add the finish. So like, do you want a matte finish? Gloss finish? Somewhere in between? Okay. What else on feel? What about on feel? How do you want your hardwood to feel?
Isn't hardwood a little softer on the foot versus like a vinyl?
I don't know. That can come or go.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
Well, what about the sound versus, like, isn't there less of an echoing sound?
Well, if it's floated, yes, that'll get sort of into the installations. So
Yeah.
there could be, I'm gonna put that down here though, right? So the installation could make a difference in the sound. Okay, what else? About feel. How do you want your hardwood to feel? Okay, this is where I would put scraped and smooth is sort of both, because it's a look and a feel. Or maybe even versus a wire brush.
There's also matte and shiny. There's some floors that are very shiny and there's some that are very matte.
Yep, I've got that.
Oh, finishes, yeah, I see it now.
Okay, all right, what about durability?
Scratch resistant, if they have pets
Yeah, okay.
especially.
Are we generally talking about solid hardwood here? Is that what the majority of the offices sell?
No, all of these, this could either be any one of these decisions or any one of these characteristics could be either solid or engineered, either one of them.
Right, but as far as, I mean, maybe our van's missing samples, we don't have, but, I mean, we have a good amount, but this is a lot of different, like, specifications to meet with the engineered, at least from what I've seen.
That's interesting, because the van, in the default version of the van, there's not a lot of solid. There's a ton of engineered and there's not a lot of solid. So, I mean, it could be that Tammy has put some other stuff in there, which is fine, 100% fine. It's just in the default, the way the mobile showroom starts, there's a lot of engineered hardwood and there's very, very little solid hardwood, because the market is moving towards engineered hardwood. It's a better product, it lasts longer, it's more dimensionally stable. There's a lot of reasons that the market is going towards engineered hardwood rather than solid hardwood. But all of the things that we've written so far could be engineered or solid. It could be either one. All right, what else around durability?
I would say the species again.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that? I think I know where you're going, but can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, depending on the species, some, like, let's say, for example, Brazilian cherry hardwood, incredibly dense. So it's going to be less dent resistant compared to, let's say, red oak or white oak. That would be more susceptible to denting because it's lower on the zinc scale, less dense.
Oh, now we're getting fancy. Good, okay, I love it. All right, so now we put all of this stuff up here, and now I'm gonna pull back away from it some, okay? So if Jason asked me all of these questions now, do you want a wide plank or a narrow plank? Well, it should be wide. Do you want it to have knots in it or no knots? Well, I'm not a big fan of knots. Do you want it scraped or smooth? Well, what does that mean? Well, this is what it means. Okay, well, scrape sounds better. Well, what kind of color are you looking for? Well, I kind of want something that's sort of a natural brown. Okay, well, do you want high variation or low variation? So you could get so specific that there's no way you'll ever find that product. So I'm not going to ask all these questions. These are all questions that I could ask, but it doesn't mean I'm going to ask all of these questions. For me, and you guys will pick what works for you, for me, I really just want to know, are you looking for something that's scraped or smooth? In fact, I'll do this in a different color. Are you looking for something that's scraped or smooth? I do want to get sort of an idea about the colors that they're looking for. And I might ask about a pattern, but I probably won't. I'm going to pick up on the species and the density based on what I found out in the warm-up and that sort of thing. I might ask about the finish, because that kind of goes along with color. Maybe I ask about wide and narrow planks. Now, these are all questions that I could ask, but if I ask all these questions, guaranteed I'm never going to be able to find the perfect board. So if I stick to 2 or 3 of these, remember, I'm not trying to get down to the exact board. I'm trying to get down to where I could bring 3 or 4 boards, 3 or 4 sample boards in, which with all the different colors, I mean, that could be 3 or 4 sample boards times 6, 8 colors on a board. I mean, I'm probably bringing in 25 different little pieces of sample board in, right? So I'm bringing a lot of options in if I just bring in 3 or 4 sample boards. And so I don't want to get too detailed, but I want to get detailed enough that I can at least go get 3 or 4 boards out. Does that make sense?
Yes. What is high-low variation? That's the one I don't, right? I'm not sure what that means.
Color variation. So you will have some floors where this is the color, but then you look at a room scene and you realize that there's some boards that are really much lighter than that, and some boards that are really much darker than that, right? A board that has very, very little variation, it basically looks like the same color all the way across. A board with very high variation, you're going to see highs and lows all the way through it.
Thank you.
Yeah, this applies to luxury vinyl too. You'll find a lot of like Endura samples where they have high variation for people that want that look.
All right. So now let's do this again. All right. So Jason, now you're armed with more information. Now ask me the 5 questions. And let's see if we can get down to where you have, I know you don't have sample boards, you're not going to actually go get a board out of the van, but at least, yeah, you know what? I've got a pretty good visual of what you're looking for.
Okay. So what is it that you're looking to accomplish?
Well, this, I've been in this little room as an office, and I'm going to move over to the bonus room so that I've got a little bit more space. So I want to sort of convert the bonus room into more of an office.
Okay, and what kind of look are you going for?
Well, I want it to look very professional because when I'm on calls and I'm looking at things with the class, sometimes I want to be able to zoom out and they may see the floor, and I want it to look like a professional floor.
Okay, so when you say professional, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, I want it to be a wood look floor, right?
Okay.
I want it to, I'd love to have a hardwood floor, but really what I'm looking for is something that's clean. I don't want a lot of knots. I don't want a lot of, I want it to be a nice, clean looking wood floor.
Nice, clean, professional floor. So, are you looking, I guess, what is it about your existing floor that makes you want to replace it?
Well, it's carpet now, and it's really just the look of it, right? So to me, carpet in a business setting doesn't really work. I mean, unless it's a commercial carpet, and I don't want to put a commercial carpet. So I want to get the carpet's fine, but I want to be able to remove the carpet and put in something that just looks more like an office.
Absolutely, I understand that. And what is it specifically about the wood that makes you want that instead of the carpet?
Just the look.
Okay. And then when the project's complete, everything's cleaned up and the furniture is back in place, are you keeping the same furniture or are you getting new furniture?
I'll keep this furniture. I made this desk myself, so I'll keep this furniture, and I mean, I may end up adding some pieces, but I'll end up keeping what's here.
Awesome. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that the floor goes with the furniture. Are you looking for something to match it, or are you looking for more of a contrast?
I don't really want to match it per se, but I'm looking for something that is sort of a light brown, just sort of a natural wood look. I'm not a big fan of the gray floors. I just want something that's a nice natural wood, and I'm not looking for something that's real shiny. I guess what I'm looking for is sort of a medium brown, medium shine, sort of a light brown wood floor.
Okay. And as far as texture, you want it to look professional. Do you want it to be nice and smooth?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've seen some of these floors that have ridges and stuff in it, and I don't think that's what I'm looking for. I think I would want something smooth.
Okay. And then you're looking for light brown. Yeah, we got that. All right. Are you considering any other spaces or projects in the near future?
All right, beautiful. Okay, so now, Jason, even though you don't have a set of, well, do you have your samples yet? Maybe not.
I don't have any samples, no. I got an idea of what you're looking for, though. I still don't know maybe the size of the plank, but not too many knots, kind of probably a low color variation, light brown, smooth.
Yep.
Matt,
you could
goes
go
with the furniture a little bit because you made it yourself, so.
So with the information you have now, you could walk into any flooring store, you could walk into a Lowe's or a Home Depot, you could walk into a Floor and Decor, or you could go out to your mobile showroom and you could pick 3 or 4 boards that match what you've now heard.
Yeah, it narrows down a lot compared to where we were at the first time.
And that's the point, right? So this step 2 question sheet, it's a good sheet. I like the sheet, but it doesn't give you everything you need. And that's why we go through this, because you've got to be able to dig further in. Now, let's say that I had said LVP here. What would you ask if you were looking for LVP?
Well, I guess first I want to understand if you're looking for LVP or if you're just saying that and you mean vinyl or LVT. So I still need to understand the look and what you're looking for. And are you looking for a wood look, a plank, or, do you want like a tile or something?
Okay, good, right? And so let's assume for the moment that I'm looking for a wood look. So what are some of the questions that I want to find out if I'm looking for an LVP that I want to look like wood?
I think a lot of the same things.
Yeah, they're the same questions. Right, laminate. Same questions. Because laminates and LVPs, they're supposed to mimic hardwood. Well, then I'm trying to find out what you want your hardwood to look like, but we're gonna do it in an LVP or a laminate. You know, the only real difference sort of comes down to the durability, and, you know, then you start getting into some other features like water resistance, maybe better scratch resistance, etc. Okay.
So Arlen, if your customer says they're looking for that wood look, how do you know whether you're gonna go down the hardwood path or the LVP path?
Watch this.
Good question.
That's what I'm gonna do. Especially if it's just one room. So my option one, you said you wanted it to look like wood. You know what looks like wood? Wood looks like wood. So let's start there. Maybe my second option is an LVP. Maybe my third option, we move to a laminate. It doesn't have to be that way, but that might be a way that I treat it. And the beautiful thing about wood is, if you can find a sample in the van that matches it from a wood perspective, you probably also have a sample in the van from an LVP and from a laminate that does the same thing. You can accomplish wood. Wood is there's so many products that look like wood. You've got wood that looks like wood, LVP that looks like wood, laminate that looks like wood. You've also got sheet vinyl that's made to look like wood. I mean, it's a poor excuse, but there are sheet vinyls that look like wood. And you've got tile that looks like wood. You got 5 different product types that you can do if somebody says they want their floor to look like wood.
Arlen, what about like your area? I mean, I have engineered hardwoods, but in Florida, a lot of times people are more interested in vinyl because they're afraid of the moisture from the environment.
Okay.
Or,
Okay.
you know, you drop an ice
Yeah.
cube, which my kids are constantly dropping ice cubes, and I freak out, like, pick up your ice cubes, because, you know, it's hardwood. And I get worried about it saturating, you
Okay.
know.
So if we were to take wood, let's just take wood looks. We could do tile that looks like wood. We could do hardwood. We could do LVP, laminate, or we could do sheet vinyl. All right, so which one of these looks the most like wood?
Wood.
Wood. All right, so we'll give that one 10 points. I'm going to give 1 point to sheet vinyl. It kind of looks like wood, but not really. And then depending on the tile, depending on the LVP, depending on the laminate, some of them look much closer to wood, some of them look less. The more expensive ones have more pattern repeats, and so you end up with less, the more expensive ones end up with more patterns to choose from, so you end up with less repeat images on the floor, okay? So these are going to be very dependent on the exact product. So I'm just going to say five points for each, because it's very dependent on which one you're looking at. All right? Which one of these is going to give you the best water resistance?
LVP and sheet vinyl and tile.
That gets a 10.
I'd say tile, probably.
That gets a 10.
And tile.
Yeah.
Okay. Hardwood's not bad. Laminates, now again, There's some laminates that are, you know, there's a ton of extra technology that's being built into laminate. So again, it sort of depends. But I'm gonna give laminate a 4 with a little asterisk because some laminates are actually really, really good with water now. Okay, so there's an asterisk there. All right, so what else could be important to the customer? Let's say scratch resistance. What's gonna give you the best?
Tile and laminate.
And LVP.
Tile LVP.
So tile and laminate are gonna be your best scratch resistance. Laminate doesn't have a polyurethane coating. Most of your laminates have a melamine coating on it, and it's a very, very good scratch protector, okay? So oftentimes, laminates are excellent when it comes to scratch resistance. If you're looking for a floor that, you know, you've got 3 Great Danes, who said they have 3 Great Danes? Who was that? That was Leanne. 3 Great Danes in the house. Actually, that'd be a pretty good place to put laminate because the laminate is going to hold up to the weight of the dogs. It's going to hold up to their dog claws. They're never going to scratch a good, not a cheap, but a good laminate floor. Okay. Hardwood, depending on the hardwood, I'm going to give it a 7. LVP, yeah, probably give that one a 6. And sheet vinyl, probably give that one a 4. Maybe a 3. What else might be important for a customer?
Feel underfoot.
Okay, so how does it feel? All right, so which one of these is going to feel the most like hardwood?
Hardwood.
I think that's
Hardwood. Okay, so where do we go from there? What's probably the next? Probably a laminate, maybe. And I'm gonna rate LVP a little lower than laminate in this case because to me LVP feels like plastic. Laminate sometimes doesn't. Again, it depends on which one. Sheet vinyl always feels like sheet vinyl.
And tile is cold and hard.
And tile is cold and hard. So what if we put that one at a, I don't know, we put that one at a 4 maybe. Okay. So now, I mean, we can continue with this, but now I have this information and I think to myself, this customer was really, really interested in the look. Okay, so now I'm going to prioritize the ones that are higher on the look. Or here's a customer where it's really the big thing for this customer is about scratch resistance. Okay, well now let me prioritize the things that are more scratch resistant. Right? So I don't want to get so heavy into features, advantages, and benefits that I just absolutely kill the customer with so much technical information. But when I go back into the customer's house with a product and I say, I chose this product for you because you said you were concerned about the dog scratching the floor. I chose this product for you because laminate actually has the best scratch resistance out there. And now we can look at the look and the feel and make sure that we've got the colors right. So this is, I mean, this has nothing to do with the exact products in your van. This is more of an overall general big picture view of what does wood look mean, okay? But when I'm with a customer and I'm walking through step 2 and I'm trying to understand what they want what's going to be important to them about their floor, this is when I'm asking these questions. And in my mind, I'm kind of working through this grid because, well, I mean, I'm an engineer at heart, so I'm working through this grid. And I'm going, okay, what is this? What is this? What's important here? What's important there? And I'm trying to pick and choose because there's no floor that gives you to all 10s. So which of the 10s matches up with what's important for this customer? Good? Good. All right. Now let's do the same. We need to do carpet. So for carpet, what are my visuals? What does it look like? Does it feel like? How do you want it to last? Okay, so what are some of the things about carpet that I want to find out? How does it look? How does it feel? How's it going to last? What's going to be important?
The texture of the carpet would be one of those.
So Isaac, tell me about texture.
So depending on the makeup, whether it's a loop or a cut and pile, whether it's a combo of the two with a pattern.
Good. Okay, what else?
Stain resistance.
Sorry, Leanne?
Stain resistance.
Oh, stain resistance, okay. So whether or not stain resistance is going to be important. Good, what else?
The density.
Okay, so tell me about the density.
You know, how does it feel when you're taking that, your fingers, and you're trying to get down into the back of that carpet? How much material are they using? We don't really talk about face weight, but we did it
Good,
another.
I like it.
The
I like
specific
it,
type of
okay, what
fiber?
else? Sorry, the type of fiber, okay. So where is that going to go? I'll put that under durability as well.
Yeah.
So is this nylon, is it polyester, polypropylene? What is it exactly? Okay, good. What else?
I don't know the technical word for it, but carpet sometimes comes like in one color all the way, and some carpet had like different colors across.
Tonal and
Good.
flex.
Solid, tonal,
Pattern.
accent, pattern. Good.
Fleck.
Yep.
Solution
Let's
or
see, John?
piece dye?
Let me go to John, and then I'm going to Dylan. John?
Yeah.
I was just adding to the look for a Fleck style. I'm not sure.
What?
Fleck. Yep.
Okay. Dylan?
I was saying, I mean, I don't know if the customer would ask this, but like solution or piece dye.
It's probably going under durability as well. Okay. So Dylan, why would that matter? When would that be an issue for somebody?
There's no way to maintain the color longer. Solution dye is the entire thread, so you're not worried about fraying or discoloration if it's just piece dyed on the top.
Okay. And the reason I had you dig in a little bit is because nobody's going to ask you, do you have a solution dyed carpet? It's, you know, this is going to be one of those, you said you wanted a carpet that was going to last 10 years. This is a solution dyed carpet, which means that the color is going to stay more consistent over that 10-year period of time, right? So that's, it's really easy for me to geek out. There are 17 different variables that come into play when it comes to making carpet. Everything from twist rate to the way that it's produced to the material and whatever else. And I personally can get too in the weeds when it comes to this. So I've had to learn because I can see when I start talking about this with a customer, their eyes glaze over and nope, I'm done. So I have to back off and simply say, you know, I don't talk about solution dyed. I simply say, you were looking for a carpet that was going to last a long time. The way this carpet is dyed, the color is going to be consistent for the full 10 or 15 years that you got it. Okay, good. That's it. That's all the customer cares about. They don't care about solution dyed and all this other stuff. All right, good. What else? But what else do I want to ask the customer? So when this is all customer facing, what is it that I want to ask the customer so that I know that when I go to the van, I can actually pull something that's going to meet their criteria?
Customers ask us all the time about the face weight.
All right, so let's talk about face weight for a second. What does face weight mean? What is that?
It's the total measurement in ounces of the surface of the carpet, not including the backer.
So if I take a piece of carpet, and I think it's 1 square yard, isn't it?
I believe so.
I think it's 1 square yard. And I'm supposed to be able to like take all the carpet, and if I were to shave all that carpet off and not include the backing and measure that, that's supposed to be face weight, right? So then if I had a 60 face weight versus a 50 face weight, which one's better?
It doesn't necessarily mean it's better. Obviously, the weight is a representation of one, density, and also the length of the yarn, or the quality of the yarn and how thick it is.
Density and length, and I'm going to use the right word, pile height. Okay, or we say length. Okay, so it's a combination of the density of the carpet, it's a combination of the pile height, it also takes into account the twist rate. So when you look at a piece of carpet and you see how tightly it's twisted together, okay? All right, so I can't say that 60 is better than 50. All right, if I go to Home Depot this afternoon and I take off my Floor Coverings International shirt, I go into Home Depot and I ask the person at Home Depot, which is better, a 60 weight or a 50 weight? What are they going to tell me?
60.
60.
Yeah, why are they going to tell me 60?
Because it's more.
The
Sounds.
general premise is bigger is better.
Well, right. They don't, it's a bigger number and they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Okay? Now the reason I bring this up is because most of the time when you have a customer that asks about face weight, it's because they've been somewhere and somebody told them that a 60 is better than a 50. So you are probably going to have to educate them on what face weight really means. Now, let's make it even more confusing. Okay, why not? You have different manufacturers of carpet. You've got Shaw, you've got Mohawk, you've got Engineered Floors, you've got all these different manufacturers out there that are making carpet. Face weight is supposed to be just the carpet fibers without the backing. But can you include the weight of the glue? And here's where it gets tricky, because some manufacturers include the weight of the glue and some don't. You're not supposed to take in the account, you're not supposed to put in the weight of the backing. Okay, well, some manufacturers include the weight of the primary backing, but not the secondary backing. So if you look at two carpets from two different manufacturers, when you look at those two numbers, they don't actually represent the same thing. And that's where face weight can lead you down a path that you probably don't want to go, because I will tell you that most of the carpet that's in the van is Shaw, and Shaw takes the most conservative approach and they only include the weight of the fiber. So if you're comparing Shaw to Mohawk, where Mohawk takes into account the weight of the adhesive as well, so a 50 for Mohawk or a 60 for Mohawk might be a 50 for Shaw, but they're exactly the same. And it's really, really hard to convince a customer of that, because now you're getting way too technical for somebody to listen to all of it. In fact, I've already lost half of this group, maybe even more. Okay, and you guys want to hear this. So my point is this: you've got to be able to answer the question about face weight, okay? But you've got to be able to do it quickly and non-technically, and essentially tell the customer, yeah, you know, face weight, it's a great measure if you're staying within one manufacturer, but you have to realize that face weight takes into account three different variables: the pile height, or the length of the fibers, the twist rate, as well as the density of the fiber. And so face weight alone is not a good measure of what's better or worse. All right, is that clear? We're good? We move on from here. All right, so what else? When I'm talking to the customer, what else am I looking for here? What other questions do I need to find, do I need to come up with to be able to get to what the customer is looking for?
Definitely color.
Yeah, color. All right. What else?
Maybe soil protection.
Okay, so we talked about stain resistance. We can also talk about soil resistance. Yep.
Warranty.
Yeah, I'm a little jaded on warranties too. Because every manufacturer, even Shaw, they're all prorated warranties. And again, when you're talking to a customer that's really, really interested in warranty, more than likely it's because the last person that was in there, the only thing they knew was to say, well, a 25-year warranty must be better than a 20-year. Okay, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, especially if you're crossing over different manufacturers. So if I have a customer that asks me, what is the warranty? I'll show them on the back of the board, yeah, this is what the warranty is. But I recommend never selling to the warranty. It's just, they're prorated and there's too many exclusions. All right, so the one piece that I feel like we're missing is under feel. How do you want your carpet to feel? So what are some words that you're going to ask around how do you want your carpet to feel?
Soft, firm.
Oh, there we go.
Like
Good.
walking on mushrooms.
Plush, dense.
Okay. So these are the types of things that I want to find out from a customer. What do you want your carpet to look like? You know, are you looking for a solid color or are you looking for multicolor? How do you want it to feel? Are you looking for something that's soft and plush or are you looking for something that's a little more dense? How do you want it to last? Is this a home you're going to be in for the next year or is this a home you're going to be in for the next 15 years? Right? I want to understand what's really important to the customer in terms of the way that it looks, the way that it feels, and the way it's going to last. Okay? Now, let's say that the customer said, I'm looking for a solid color. I'm looking for something that does feel pretty soft and plush. And I mean, you've seen the animals running around here, so I'm looking for something definitely that's going to be stain resistant. Okay? And these are the only three things that matter to me. So when you go out to the van and you pull a product, you pull a carpet out of the van, how are you going to present that carpet to me?
Arlen,
Shows
based on your
this-
feedback and looking at the unique needs of your home with pets or the kids, I recommend we go with this one. It has R2X for stain resistance. It has the lifeguard backing to ensure that your pad and your subfloor are not stained from any pet messes.
Okay? So what I heard Dylan say was, I saw this, and so I recommend this. All right, Wendy, what were you going to say?
I chose this sample for you because you said stain resistance was important, because you said that you wanted something that was very soft and plush, and I know it's going to come in the colors that you're looking for.
Okay. So if I pulled the wrong sample, I saw all this stuff and I'm going to recommend this, and now I pulled a sample and the customer hates that board. Whose fault is that?
Ours.
That's my fault. I pulled the wrong one, okay? I chose this because you said. Now, if I pulled the wrong board, whose fault is that? This is more of a team. This is more of a I am pushing. Now, the way that Dylan said it, it doesn't come across as pushy, and I'm sure he's going to sell a ton of stuff that way, right? So I'm not picking on Dylan. This is more collaborative. I chose this for you because you said this. Oh, you don't like this? Okay, now let me reprioritize what you're looking for. And I'll go back to the van and pull something else. Okay? I'm gonna really encourage you. I chose this because you said. I chose this board for you because you said this. I mean, you can rearrange it, that's fine. You know, when we were here earlier, Leanne, you told me that you've got 3 big Great Danes and you're really concerned about the way that they're gonna scratch the floor. I chose this board for you because of its ability to withstand those scratches. Okay, so now if Leanne says, yeah, but I hate this color, no problem. I'm not offended. This board does what you want it to do for the Great Danes. Now let's look at another board that's got a different color. Good. And we move on from there. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Good stuff.
What,
Good.
one question about the carpet and the color. Is it important for us to ask for the color? Because I've seen some samples and they have almost all colors in it. So
yeah,
will it be better
really
just
good
to
question.
like?
Really good question. You're gonna find, like, when you look at your color, when you look at your board samples, you're gonna find that we'll do this in the blue. That's fine. You're gonna find that you look at this carpet board, and this board has a lot of earth tones. Okay, and you look at another board, and you just overall, this one has a lot of really bright colors. Okay, or you look at this one and you realize, well, this one, I mean, the colors are there, they're good colors, but they're not very bright. They're more of a muted, you know, what I call a muted color. Okay, so I'm not trying to find out from the customer exactly what the color they're looking for. I'm gonna ask the question about color because I want to make sure that when I go to the van, the board that I pull has a color that I think is close to it, right? But I'm not interested, to your point, Zuri, I'm not trying to get to the exact color when I go to the van because I'm going to bring in a bunch of colors on the same board. Now I'm interested because Christine's got a design background. Christine, how do you handle the color question when you're in step 2?
So I look around the environment. I ask some questions like, are we keeping the paint color on the wall? Things like that, looking at the furniture. And then I attack it from that direction going. So what I see around me is, you know, if you look at what I've got going on here, which I didn't do, I got to tell you, I don't like this. But anyway, you know, I have a lot of earth tones right here. So, right, it's warmer, earthier colors. So are we looking to keep those colors and then go into that same direction? And I do the same thing you said. You want to just get a color that's close enough. It's not, you don't want to be spot on because what you see, particularly when it comes looking at color, people can see color differently. So you want to be in that general range, but not spot on because somebody could see gray in a carpet that you don't see gray in or other way around, you know, so just get close enough and pay attention to your surroundings.
Good. All right, so I really want to get some feedback from especially from the DAs that are on the call that have done a bunch of ride-alongs. So I just want you to take yourself off mute one by one. And what do you do, or what have you seen your franchise owner do that's really neat when it comes to picking out the right board from the van? So let's see, Leanne, what have you seen Stephen do, or what have you done that this is like my number one go-to to help somebody pick out color or to help pick out product?
I pay attention to the rooms that they're in, the colors that they're in, the tones, and I make sure that I listen to what they're actually looking for because sometimes they want I like a lighter color, but I want it to match the 1980s banisters on my fit. So you have to kind of, okay, so we might not be able to come close to that, but we can complement it and go that way and just sort of, and once we're in there, putting it in different areas of the room with the lighting and maybe pulling a pillow off the couch or something like that to sort of lay them so they can see it all together that way.
Good, good. Let's see, Dylan, how about you?
I got a tip from Ryan Thielman, who's out in Plano, just south of me. And that is, at least for carpets, which is the one we had a walkthrough together with, is he pulls out 3 particular samples because they have a little variation in them, a lot of different color variation, and they're all the same price point. So whichever way the customer goes, it doesn't change the options or the scope of the project in terms of price.
Nice, nice. Drew, how are you guys helping the customer pick the exact product?
Firstly, we'll go through and ask, if they already have carpet, we'll ask them what they like about the one they have now, what they don't. Then we'll go in and ask, solid color, or do you want something with a few more specs, a little multicolored carpet? That narrows it down a bunch right there, just if they want plain solid or something spec, or even pattern. It's not too common, people want pattern, and then Randy just has like a couple, like 3 or 4 that he lives or dies by, and most of the time people love them. So it's just really getting like a few of them that you really like and are passionate about.
Nice, nice. John, how about with you and Liz and Dan?
So Dan and Liz, they do a great job asking those qualifying questions. One of the things that I really like that they ask is they ask the customer if they've done any shopping already, if they've seen any pictures that they really like online, if they could show them to Dan and Liz, and that way they know exactly what they already like, they're already interested in, and they kind of start planning an attack before even going out to the showroom. So yeah, they're pretty great at it.
Good. Christine, any other words of wisdom?
Don't get hung up too much, like we were talking about yesterday. Don't get too hung up on, sorry, my cat's on my lap, on being exact, the exact this, the exact that, because you're going to find some people they have decision paralysis, right? And they're going to want to look for this, and this. So whoever, I think it was John who said, your franchise owners have a few that they go to that they love and everybody loves them. Again, passion, right? The more passionate you talk about it, the more excited that you talk about it, the more you're going to sell it. That's just the reality. Be passionate about it and have your go-tos so that you're not like trying to go through the entire van. Like, God love Risa, but every time I open up a door, something falls out because there's so much crap in the van. So we're changing that on Tuesday, and that's some of it's going to come out, and we're going to have less to choose from because honestly, guys, less is more. Have your go-tos, go to it, because you'll get more and more confident talking about it, and people are going to jump on your excitement bandwagon. That would be my words of wisdom.
Nice. Carrie.
Yeah, well, I think it's very important in the setup call, first of all, to ask what flooring they are considering. And then once we're in the home, we always say, why are you considering this? What color tones? How much variation do you want? What is your overall feel for the room? And just kind of like what Christine said, because I have a background in design, I often say like, this is just so much fun for me. And I love the thrill of when something really that they love. And so I've had good luck with it, but I think what Christine said as well, like last night I was getting all these boards out and Reed was like, okay, well, let's narrow it down a little bit. So sometimes less is more. And then you can always, if they want more options, you can always give them more options. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I will interject. I saw a design associate do this, and I thought it was, I wouldn't do it every time, but this is something that I thought was really helpful. He had a customer that was having a really hard time just decision making, right? I mean, I don't know if I like this or this or this. And so what he did is he took two boards. He said, we're not going to say yes to anything. I just want you to say no or maybe. And so he'd take a board. Is this board a no or is it a maybe? And it was easier for the customer to say no than it was for the customer to say yes. So they could look at the board and say, no, that's a no. Okay, so we're never talking about that one again. The maybe goes on the maybe pile. Is this a no or a maybe? No. Is this a no or a maybe? Maybe. All right. So now you're down to maybe only two boards of a maybe. So which do you like better? Better number one or better number two? So you're helping the customer by taking a bunch of choices, if you have brought in a bunch of choices, and helping them bring it down one at a time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Good. Let's see, Jonathan, you're out there riding around with Leon, and you guys are having a great time landing sales. I know it. So what's Leon doing to help people pick out exactly what floor they love and deserve?
We're trying. But one of the things we've kind of gathered a couple times, of course, is very popular, is, I mean, looking at the space, we're asking about what they want to do, and usually it's a single-story house or all downstairs, and they have some wet areas. So we kind of know they don't want laminate. They're not going to do wood or tile, so they want the waterproof. So then we definitely push that because it's going into the wet areas. They want it all to be seamless, bathrooms, kitchen. And then, of course, we just keep the cabinets in mind, things like that. When we bring it in and eventually get to that point, we put it down, and they're usually pretty happy.
Good. Good. Let's see. Christian, I don't know if you've had a chance to run with Shannon, but you got a whole bunch of DAs up there.
Yeah, I got two other DAs here, Jamie and Jordan, and they both have a completely different style, but seems to work for both of them. Something both of them I've seen do is, like, I haven't seen the setup call, but as we're getting ready to go on the ride along, they're bringing stuff out of the showroom that may not be in the van. And they know exactly what they're going to show the customers, like, before they even get there. And of course, as they're doing the inspection and looking at the scope of the space, they just kind of ensure that to see if it'll work, and we'll tailor it that way. So, and most of the time, like, the customers really do like what they've already pre-picked before even showing up for the appointment.
Nice.
Can I ask a
Denise.
question?
Yes, Owen.
So this stuff that, in terms of the things that are in the showroom and not in the van, is there a commonality between the stuff in the showroom? Is it more niche stuff, higher end stuff, or what? Why is it in the showroom instead of the van?
It's more, so there's only so much space that can go in the van. And the stuff that's been put in the van is more run of the mill, not necessarily less expensive, because you're gonna have a wide range of prices in the mobile showroom. You're gonna have a wide range of prices in the warehouse. The warehouse stuff tends to be a little bit more niche. So, like, for carpet, a lot of your pattern carpets are going to be in the warehouse, not so much in the van. You're going to have some hardwoods in the showroom. When I say showroom, I mean the warehouse showroom. You're going to have some samples in the warehouse showroom, like for hardwood, that, yeah, they're really good hardwood, but historically they don't sell as well as the stuff that's in the van. What's loaded in the van should sell 80 to 90% of the time. And it's only once in a while that you have to pull something from the warehouse. Now, let me also explain it this way. Right now, Owen, you have one van. Let's see, Christian, how many vans does Shannon have? 2 vans. Does anybody have 3 vans? Anybody on this call have 3 vans? Not yet. Okay. So Christian's up in Canada. Shannon Forrester is a franchise owner. She's got 2 vans. So at the beginning of the year, when new samples are sent out, sample updates are sent out, Shannon's going to get 2 of everything that's supposed to go in the van, and only 1 of any sort of warehouse update. So from a sample management standpoint, the stuff that's in the showroom, you get 1 showroom update per mobile showroom, you get one warehouse update per business. Now, that doesn't, I mean, you can double up on stuff in the warehouse. You can get more. It's just that your normal yearly updates, you're gonna get, for the mobile showrooms, you're gonna get one set of sample updates per mobile showroom, and for the warehouse stuff, you just get one. All right,
Thank you.
let's see, Denise, you and Josh are out running, selling stuff. What are you doing? What have you seen Josh do to help people pick the perfect product?
I think one of the things about that is, when you're talking about colors, it's dead on to understand that people see colors differently. And so somebody can describe this perfect color, and if you get too focused in on, okay, I remember there's this color on this board and that's all I'm going to take in, you're doing yourself a disservice, because people will often choose what they indicated they had no interest in. So just make sure that you're listening to that and providing that as an option, but also know by looking around what the style of the home is, what the person's personal style kind of is, and just, you really start to get a feel for what somebody's going to like once you really get comfortable learning personality differences and maybe even a little bit of the psychology of why they pick what they pick. If someone's dead set on having exactly what Grandma Jones had in her house, they want that look, or they don't want anything that looks anything like it. Listen to those little nuances, because that can really help you from a style standpoint too.
Nice. All right. So I tried to hit all the DAs. If I missed somebody, it was not on purpose. People move around as cameras go on and off. But from the franchise owners that are out there, what have you guys seen? What have you heard? Talking with other franchisees, or what have you seen out there that would help somebody be able to pick the perfect floor? Quiet. Okay.
I think
So
I'm not understanding the question from
Yeah,
like there's the product selector, which I really like to be able to go like, okay, we know we want a PG3, we know we want carpet, what are my most resilient carpets? So the product selector for me is huge. And then the chat groups are huge. I see them in there all the time. Hey, here's a picture of what a customer's after. Do you know anyone who I can get this from? So I think the more designer oriented, tougher customers, they're using each other and they're very responsive.
Good. Okay.
What chat group is that? I'm sorry.
That's the franchisee chat group. It was at the show. But then also I'm on the Women of FCI chat group, and they do a ton of product research. I took a picture of it. I can send it out to everybody.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. All right. There are several people on this call that I've gotten emails from yesterday, last night, today, that have said, hey, look, we've got a 4 o'clock appointment. We've got to get to this. We've got to get to that. So this afternoon, and frankly, the next thing that I want to cover, I can't do it justice in 30 minutes anyway. So we're gonna pull this to a close today. No worries. We've got tomorrow. We'll get everything done tomorrow. It's not a problem whatsoever. And I'll let those of you that have got to get to 4 o'clock appointments and whatever, go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to hang out here for a few more minutes, not to present anything new, but if you've got questions and you want to hang out for a little while, hang out with me and ask questions. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow.
Arlene,
Christine,
can I add one more thing about color, guys? I'm going to use this stupid color, but just to give you guys reference, say there's a purple carpet in there, and the client wants something that's more in the grayish family, taupe family in that, and you pull something like that out and you lay it on that purple carpet, it's going to look more gray. So whoever, John, is it you that has those boards, the window or the picture frame things? Who's got that? It's you.
Yeah, we've got them.
Guys, invest in them. It makes such a big difference, because it's just like taking paint color. If I held a taupe color on this wall, it would look more brown. So make sure you're not letting, there you go, thank you. It's such a great investment. Make sure,
John's so proud of those.
yeah. But use them, yeah, use them, it'll make a difference. And also remember,
Where's a good place to find those, Christine?
Amazon.
Okay, thank you.
Also, remember color looks different at night, like it's rainy and dismal here today. So the carpet or hardwood or whatever it is gonna look different on a dismal day, different at night, different when it's sunny. So take all that into account. Don't go crazy over it, but get that. Those are amazing.
Nice.
Hey,
Solid.
Arlen, I have a question that I don't know if we're going to touch base on this again, but it kind of goes back to day one with the closing techniques. So let's assume we're on the part where you say, would you want to pay with a check or take advantage of a payment option? And they say check. So I know from the training videos, you kind of just assume the close, but I would love to hear how you walk through that, because otherwise it can be a very awkward assuming of the close if you don't know exactly how to transition. And I would love to hear your take on that and how you do it.
All right. I'm gonna ask you the closing question and just tell me that you would pay by check, okay?
Okay.
So Dylan, once your job's complete and you're 100% satisfied, would you be in a position to pay with a check, or would you want to take advantage of one of the payment options?
We pay with the check.
Well, welcome to the Floor Coverings International family.
That's it, straight to it, just like Mary Ann and Albert.
There is no transition. You just told me yes. Now, what if you didn't tell me yes? What if what you were really trying to say is, well, if we go with you, we would pay with a check. So what's the next thing you're going to say? You're going to say something like, oh, wait a minute, time out, I'm not there yet. Okay. Oh, really? What makes you say that? And you know what? I'm right back where I expected to be anyway, because now we're going to talk about, is it price, is it time, is it payment, is it any one of those things.
Okay.
Okay. But if I ask the customer, would you pay with a check or when you take advantage of one of the payment options, if they say anything that even remotely sounds like a yes, I'm going to stick my hand out and say, well, welcome to the Floor Coverings International family. And they're either going to shake my hand and that really was a yes, or they're not going to shake my hand and they're going to say, wait a minute, I didn't say yes. Oh, okay. And then we're right back to where I was expecting to be anyway.
Okay.
Good. All right, so if, let's see, if Isaac and Jason are still around, I did want to look at your product. I did want to look at your setup for Shaw stuff and your price list. So if you guys have 5 minutes and can hang out with me, that'd be great. I'll see everybody tomorrow.
Yep.
Nice.